You're listening to The Foundation of Wellness, a refreshing take on diet and lifestyle, with Jessica Dogert, a registered dietitian nutritionist, and Marisa Moon, a primal health coach.
Hey you guys, my name is Jessica and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, and you can learn all about me on my website, jessicadogert.com.
Hey, it's me, Marisa Moon. I'm a certified primal health coach from marisamoon.com and the primal food blogger from mylongevitykitchen.com, where it all began. You guys, this is episode number 28, and it's part 2 about drinking more water. Last week, we covered the benefits of drinking more water and signs and the effects of dehydration. And we even talked about some controversy in the schools of thought regarding water intake and a lot more. So be sure to listen to part 1.
So today is more about the negative effects of too much water intake, the dangers of tap water. We'll explain a few different types of water and filtration systems to make tap water more safe for you to enjoy. Okay, so forget dehydration. The next question is, are you drinking too much water? So it turns out there is such a thing as overindulgence when it comes to good old H2O, and this condition is known as hyponatremia or water intoxication. So water intoxication refers to an imbalance of electrolytes following excessive water intake, and this results in dangerously low sodium levels.
Yeah, it was in the 1990s, I think 91, when this groundbreaking study was published by Dr. Timothy Noakes and his colleagues regarding the potential danger of overconsuming water during exercise. So contrary to popular belief, they found that drinking too much water was far more dangerous than not drinking enough water, particularly when someone consumed abnormally large doses of water before or during or even after prolonged exercise. That's when we started seeing so much of the science come out on this topic. And we started seeing the tragedy of numerous athletes drinking more water than they could hardly tolerate, resulting in illness or in many cases death.
Yikes. I mean, the effects of water intoxication range from uncomfortable to quite serious. So think nausea, vomiting, headaches, fatigue, irritability, and weakness to seizures and intense headaches. So extremely low levels of sodium can result in brain swelling that can progress to death in the most serious cases. Yikes, you guys, but before you panic, it's important to note that the risk of hyponatremia is very low for the general population and begins to become a concern more in the elderly, with certain medications in people with less than optimal kidney function, if you're an endurance athlete, or even someone who sweats a lot, and anyone who consumes more water than their kidneys can excrete in a given time. So exercise-associated hyponatremia is most often correlated with long-duration, high-intensity exercises, such as marathons and triathlons. So if you're an endurance athlete, listen up. To keep tabs on your water intake as you engage in endurance activities, here is a simple technique. So before exercise, weigh yourself in minimal clothing after going to the bathroom. Then weigh yourself immediately after exercise in minimal clothing with the sweat wiped off, noting exactly how much water you drink. You don't want to weigh more after exercise. If you do, it is a good sign that you should dial back on your water intake during your next workout.
Cool. I never heard that before. That's a cool way to do it. But I'd even imagine that these endurance athletes or people who are exercising for a long duration and sweating their butt off are feeling almost confused during the middle of their workout, wondering, am I dehydrated? Do I need more water? But you're better off only drinking to your thirst than you are guzzling down water because you think you should or you're told you should. I mean, your performance may not suffer at all during dehydration. It's very inconsistent. And in some cases, it might, but you are much safer consuming just the amount of water that you're thirsty for or that goes down easily rather than the amount that you guess your body may need, thinking it's going to help you.
Yeah, I mean, hyponatremia or water intoxication, it is a super scary thing. It's important to shine some light on this topic since the only advice out there seems to scream drink more water. I will say though, with all of that being said, don't take this episode as, take it easy on water. It's still more likely that you're not getting enough of it. I think my advice is just to drink half your weight in ounces per day. So if you weigh 120 pounds, drink about 60 ounces, and more if you exercise, are pregnant, or are in the heat. So bottoms up.
Yeah, and you got to try and trust your senses when you're actually drinking water. This is something I mentioned in the last episode, and I can relate to it because sometimes it feels like I'm forcing the water down. And if you feel that way, if you feel like you're forcing the water down, now this is not if you don't like the taste of water, that's a different issue and you're just going to have to get used to it. But if you feel like you're drinking more water than you actually need in any given moment, you might want to listen to your brain signals. The brain's decision to start or stop drinking and to choose the appropriate drink that you consume is actually made before the fluid can even get past our mouth. The taste buds in our mouth send messages to our brain about the composition of the water, and then responses are triggered as if the incoming water already reached the bloodstream, but it hasn't. These are these so-called anticipatory reflexes. So if your brain is telling you that drinking this water is hard, like you're forcing it down, that's probably a sign that you're taking in too much water at that time, which athletes have done, and that's why they actually got sick or died. So if you have an imbalance regarding your electrolytes, like we were saying before, it could be of danger to you. So sometimes you can just trust those reflexes,
Yes, trust your reflexes and instincts. Okay, moving on, let's chat all about tap water. So in general, the United States has pretty safe drinking water. But problems with drinking water do crop up every year. Get this, just 2 days ago in the Chicago Tribune, a headline read, "City tests confirm some Chicago homes with water meters have brain-damaging lead in tap water." Yikes.
Yup, there were thousands of homes tested and hundreds that showed they have lead in them. And that's where we live in Chicago. And if this doesn't scare you as an adult, then it really should frighten you regarding the health of our children. And this reminds me of an experience I had dozens of times while bartending in the last couple of years in downtown Chicago. If I'd offer someone a bottle of water instead of just giving them a glass of tap water, the crowd was always split a few different ways regarding their response. But I can't tell you how many times someone would laugh at me and say, "Why would I drink bottled water? Chicago has the best municipal water in the world." Yeah, this is true. Chicago really strives to remove contaminants from its water, and I'm not sure if there are records of contaminated Chicago water across the board since 2015. They've made a lot of corrections there, but the chemicals that are allowed and intentionally added, like chlorine and fluoride, are still in our drinking water. And then you have issues like the lead that comes from pipes and stuff, so you still want to get your water tested. So whenever I can, I just pay a few more bucks to get the bottled water because to me, it's pretty important. Why are you drinking the water anyway? Just because you're thirsty or because you're trying to be healthy?
Yeah, those few extra bucks to get that bottled water, it's worth it to me. Unfortunately, high quality drinking water is increasingly difficult to come by in this day and age. So most health-conscious Americans understand that we are lucky in this country to have access to water that's largely free of disease-causing microorganisms. However, drinking plain, good old unfiltered tap water is generally not a good idea. So the Safe Drinking Water Act only regulates 91 potential water contaminants. Yet there are more than 60,000 chemicals used within the United States, many of which have been identified are actually probable carcinogens. So let's explain some of the chemicals that are more than likely lurking in your tap water. One of them is going to be fluoride. So for over 50 years, the U.S. government has mandated that fluoride be added to the water supply to prevent dental problems. However, current research has shown that fluoride, a chemical that is used in rat poison, does a lot more harm than good. So the fluoride found in tap water has actually been shown to damage tooth enamel, and it also can increase fracture risk as well as suppress immune and thyroid function. Plus, it's going to increase cancer risk and just disrupt the function of the pineal gland. You guys, many European countries have banned the use of fluoride altogether, and luckily there's a large activist movement of people working to get fluoride banned in the United States as well, so that's comforting to know.
Yeah, it's probably still in your toothpaste. I mean, your dentist is probably still using fluoride, and you'll hear plenty of advice that's warning you it is safe. But how will we ever know for ourselves? How can we trust the sources that are driven by profits? There's a lot of money behind that. And some of the rumors are that fluoride is a chemical that needs to go somewhere. It needs a place to go because it's an industry byproduct from phosphate fertilizer and from making aluminum. So they decide to drip it into our water system, somewhere where they can slowly get rid of it. And do we know the truth? Maybe we can't say for sure if that's what happened. Maybe we can't say for sure how dangerous it is. But we do know that industrial fluoride doesn't belong in our water, in water from nature. So I choose to be a skeptic and live without fluoride in my water. And as much as I'd like for it to end there, we should all just take a moment to realize something else I learned, that over 4,000 different chemicals contain fluoride. These are a class of chemicals they called PFASs. And we're exposed to PFASs most commonly through our drinking water. And just to give you a better idea of what these are, some of these PFASs are chemicals that come from big manufacturers that make Teflon and Scotchgard. That's why if you're shopping for pots and pans, especially online, you're going to see claims that it's PFOA free or PFOS free. Those are some of the chemicals that are used in nonstick cookware that fall into this fluoride PFAS category. These are all dangerous chemicals that are illegal now, but those kinds of laws take forever to actually go into effect and get rid of the other chemicals. And still most pots and pans and baking supplies until who knows when. And they're just using another fluoride family chemical that's in that same family. They're just not using those specific ones that were banned. And the chemicals are still out there in our industrial systems, and they're definitely still in our water. Now, the communities, according to EWG.org, that are suffering the worst contamination include Minnesota and Michigan communities. But some states are taking action. They're starting to test and restrict laws, or even just provide citizens with guidelines how to clean up the water you're using, because you're showering with it, you're eating with it, cooking with it, and drinking this water. So you might think, oh, it's just a few glasses of water a day, no big deal. But you guys, we get that through our skin too. I mean, we cook with it. It's a big deal. And the states that are starting to take action are Michigan, New Jersey, Washington, North Carolina. Now, North Carolina's got a lot more to worry about. I'll mention in a little bit. And Minnesota, New York, and New Hampshire. So these are questions to think about. What is in your water?
You bring up such a good point, just because, I mean, we shower every single day, right? And our skin is the largest organ, and it's going to absorb whatever it is that we're putting on. And to think that, the water goes directly onto our skin as well. It's not just about drinking water. So I love how you brought that up. But do you guys want to know another chemical lurking in tap water? It's going to be chlorine. So water treatment facilities use chlorine as a disinfectant. So it effectively kills microorganisms, but it also has toxic effects on the human body. So chlorine has been identified as a leading cause of breast cancer, and it's been associated with rectal and breast cancers, asthma, birth defects, and premature aging of the skin. Oh no.
Yeah, and here's another one that you're not going to find everyone agreeing on, because chlorine saves populations from outbreaks and deadly pathogens. We're lucky to have clean water, but in the long term, we have to start thinking about what this is doing to us and our families, especially in combination with all the other chemicals. And some environmentalists and scientists are warning us that the real issue is not the chlorine itself, but the disinfection byproducts that are a result of using chlorine in water. So these disinfection byproducts are abbreviated with the letters DBPS. DBPS. These chlorine byproducts in our water, you guys, are 10,000 times more dangerous than the chlorine itself. And in addition to being powerful carcinogens, these DBPs have also been linked to liver, kidney, and nervous system problems. So we should be concerned, if not for ourselves, but for our kids.
And one more toxin that's lurking in tap water is going to be arsenic. So the Natural Resources Defense Council estimates as many as 56 million Americans drink water containing unsafe levels of arsenic. So arsenic is a poisonous carcinogen. Yikes, you guys.
Yeah, and of those 56 million Americans, Jess, the arsenic containing tap water, it's from 25 different states in particular. And arsenic is extremely toxic for everyone, but especially for babies and children and pregnant women. Now, aluminum is also found in a lot of municipal water supplies, and it can cause a wide variety of health problems, including hyperactivity, learning disabilities, gastrointestinal disease, skin problems, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and liver disease. You don't want aluminum in your water. And if you live in a rural area, it's very likely that you have nitrate waste in your water, which is from farming, chemical fertilizers, and the manure buildup. It's most contaminated in these small rural communities that can't afford to fix the problem. So that's where the issue really is, especially if it's in people's wells and these small towns that can't afford, because we're talking about, tens of millions of dollars a year that it would take communities to really fix this nitrate waste problem that's in their drinking water. And the nitrates are linked to many different cancers and birth defects. So even private wells, people with private wells need to be concerned. 70% of the communities affected are actually from 10 states: Arizona, California, Illinois, and Kansas, Nebraska, New York, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Washington. But 43 states in total are affected in at least one area or more. So it's worth going to your city's website for more info on your water test results, or you can even get your water tested for pretty cheap. And you can get yourself tested. Now you can go to ewg.org and learn more by clicking on the water tab and even typing in your zip code and finding out more there.
So many of you listeners may be wondering, what's the healthiest water to drink if tap water is no good for me? And the answer is going to be filtered water. So investing in a high-quality home water filter, it's probably the most practical and affordable long-term solution to avoid tap water contaminants. And there are so many types of water filtration systems out there, so it's really important to do a little bit of research before purchasing one, because a vast majority will not effectively remove most chemicals.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of information you can learn by looking it up, but there are really only two names that you need to remember when you're going to be shopping for a water filter. The first one is reverse osmosis, and the second one is activated carbon filters. When used in combination, reverse osmosis water systems with an activated carbon filter. Now, this is the most superior water filtration system combination for your entire house, so that the water you shower with, drink, and cook is not contaminated with any of those farming pesticides, any of those chemicals, or any of the toxins that we mentioned. But in addition to removing chlorine and the inorganic compounds and even organic contaminants in your water, this reverse osmosis filter can be installed in your house. It's going to remove about 80% of the fluoride and most of those, byproducts of the chlorine that are in your water. Now, the major drawback is that reverse osmosis is the expensive one. You wouldn't install it if you're not the homeowner, first of all. It needs professional installation, like from a plumber or from a water filtration company in your area. But the activated carbon filter, sometimes called granular activated carbon blocks, those blocks are even more efficient. But those are the best, most affordable option that anyone can use, no matter what your budget, you can find one. And they're only maximized when you have it with the reverse osmosis system, because that's how you're going to remove the fluoride. But it's pretty darn good on its own. Just be sure to change those activated carbon filters regularly as you're instructed. How many of us ignore those reminders to change the filter? But you have to, because it's not going to work anymore. And activated charcoal filters are not the same, okay, you guys? You don't want activated charcoal when we're talking about filtering your water. You want activated carbon.
Yeah, so personally, I use Brita, and I really like it. So that is activated carbon. And I've heard really amazing things about Berkeley filters too. But if you're feeling extra fancy, like Marisa said, go alkaline or hydrogen with your water. So through my research, I do believe that reverse osmosis alkaline water filters are the absolute best option as far as a filtration system goes. So what exactly is reverse osmosis alkaline water? It's ultra purified, so it goes through a 7-step purification process. It has the perfect pH of 7.4, and that's exactly where your body likes to thrive. And it's guaranteed free from contaminants like fluoride, chlorine, and arsenic. So let me chat a little bit on pH and alkalinity. So some of you may be wondering, what the heck do those things even mean? Well, pH is a measure of how acidic or alkaline something is on a scale of 0 to 14. So 0 is most acidic, 7 is neutral, and 14 is most alkaline. So foods, they can be either acidic or alkaline. And water is usually around neutral, but it can lean more acidic. So alkaline water has a pH above 7. Okay, so what about alkaline water? There is solid evidence that alkaline water banishes something called AGEs, which are compounds linked to inflammation, and they can protect from pathogens by influencing good belly bacteria in the gut. And all that good belly bacteria is going to aid in digestion, it's going to boost our immune system, it's going to bust a craving, and it is just going to enhance overall well-being.
Yeah, alkaline water gets easily confused with mineral water too. I mean, that's really why there are so many benefits, because when minerals are added to water, they are going to take the water pH into the alkaline direction. That's what you're going for when you're buying an alkaline water system like Jess is talking about. They're actually adding things like magnesium and stuff to your water. So, I mean, for most Americans, even just mineral water is unfamiliar in general. We don't drink it here. It's not that common, but when people in Europe, that's all they drink is mineral water, you know. Now, I don't believe manufactured mineral water should be your only source of water. It's not really like the natural mineral water we would get from a spring in nature. Same with alkaline. I don't think it should be like your only source of water, but I do believe that it's really smart to supplement that into your daily routine. And I think if you like the taste of mineral water, then go for it. That might be a good sign of your body saying like, yeah, this is what I need. But for people that are put off by the taste of mineral water, then maybe it's just not for you, you know. Usually once a day, I add trace minerals to my glass of water. I use this product called Concentrace, and Concentrace is really a combination of so many different trace minerals taken from, real bodies of water in the United States. And I'll add even a pinch of sea salt to my water as well. A lot of experts and fitness hydration enthusiasts will say that's why we can get overhydrated, or that's why we stay dehydrated, because we're drinking water that's empty. It's like distilled water. It's nothing. It doesn't have the composition that water typically would have throughout history, or that the human body really needs to function. Those natural electrolytes, yes, minerals are electrolytes, help us to get properly hydrated. The salt, the mineral content, and the water all need to be in balance. That's critical for good health and for actually utilizing that water. Otherwise, it just goes right through you. And there's an entire camp of influencers boasting about hydrogen water, even over alkaline or mineral water. Hydrogen water systems help to influence more H2 gas. The H2 gas is dissolved in the water, for instance, or the water molecules are separated so that the H2 is free. But there are so many different ways that they make it. I don't know. It's scientific and totally out of my wheelhouse, you guys. But those hydrogen molecules help to neutralize free radicals, things that, are causing all sorts of inflammation in the body and advanced aging and cancer. And so it is similar to the benefits of those other types of water, like reverse osmosis alkaline water. But this hydrogen water is really like a new thing because they're not really manipulating the water too much or adding things to it. They're just like optimizing the way that those molecules interact when we drink it. I tried hydrogen water before, and it was at biohacker Anthony DiClementi's place. And he asked me if I wanted some water, and he poured it out of this contraption that was on top of his counter, maybe the size of a computer printer, if I remember correctly. And I swear to you guys, this water just like climbed down my throat. I have never found drinking water so easy in my life. I was like, wait a second, what kind of water is this? It tasted like it was just meant to be down my throat. I don't know how else to say it. It was like so amazing. I never found it so easy to drink water. And I was like, oh, I'm totally going to look into that. And I never did until we did this episode today, Jess. I didn't.
Interesting.
Until we were researching this, I've never really looked back into hydrogen water. And so I'm going to have to look into it even more to see if I should get some kind of hydrogen thingy-majiggy to add to my home. I don't need all my water to be hydrogen water, but maybe I would get a contraption like he had.
Man, Anthony has so many cool tricks up his sleeve. But I mean, from what you just said, I really want to try hydrogen water now. And I also want to do those little hacks that you do, like adding a pinch of sea salt or the minerals, the concentrates. That's really cool too. I'm really into doing something like that. But there you have it, you guys. I mean, we covered the negative effects of drinking too much water. Plus, we exposed many of the chemicals in your city tap water. So filtered water is best. So you want to get the best one you can afford, which could be as simple as my Brita pitcher. And if you're bored with water, you might enjoy hot lemon water this winter. And I've got 5 reasons why you should join the Hot Lemon Water Club. One is because it is a craving buster. So sour and bitter foods, they actually reset taste buds to help you crave less sweet stuff. Another thing is that it gives you this immune boost. So lemon contains immune-boosting vitamin C. Another reason to enjoy hot lemon water is because it is an energy kick. Truly staying well hydrated keeps energy levels naturally high. And it's also going to be helpful for your appetite because water before meals, like we said in last week's episode, actually decreases appetite, so you naturally eat less. And last but not least, it gives you a mental jump start. So starting the day with hot lemon water really gives you the feeling that you've already done something really good for your body. And it puts you mentally on track to just have a really healthy day, and it could snap you out of a less than healthy eating streak.
I can't believe how much there is to say on water.
Right?
Because, I mean, honestly, when I was like editing this script for this episode, we didn't even scratch the surface, it seems, when it comes to topics and research in this category. There really is a lot to say. I just want to leave the listeners with a reminder that we need to eat plenty of fresh vegetables and fruits every day, which is part of the reason that we are dehydrated. And you can double up on that hydration and nutrition all at one time when you're getting some of your water from fresh vegetables and fruits. Cool?
I mean, eat more fruits and veggies. I think that's music. But I have questions for our listeners. So do you guys think that you drink too much water or just enough? And are you considering investing in a reverse osmosis water filtration system after listening to this? Because I know I sure am, or at least maybe try some hydrogen water. Shoot us an email because we'd really love to hear from you. And as always, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, you can actually contact us on our Facebook page or our Instagram page. We're the Foundation of Wellness Podcast. We should be pretty easy to find. We love hearing from you, and thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.